Hey everybody, Mark Davis in the warm afterglow of our Thursday, May 2nd, 2013 show with the musical question, what do you do when the DA gets a DWI? It's not up here in DFW, it's down in Austin in Travis County where Rosemary Lemberg, the fairly noteworthy district attorney down there, is in the middle of a 45-day sentence for DWI, and it was a bad one. I mean, there's no such thing as a good one, but this is a bad one. We're talking about almost 3 times the legal limit. We're talking about really giving them a rough time at the jail when they brought her down to book her and give her her jumpsuit and slippers. It was just not pretty at any point. And now, again, she was ripped out of her mind, which is not an excuse, but it's an explanation for some of the trouble she gave to some of the arresting officers, some of the literal fighting back as they were trying to get her processed in. It's a horrible nightmare. So the question now is, should she lose her job? She's in jail for 45 days. For a first-time DWI, she has been made an example of, and which I like, by the way. In fact, my overall rant here, once we get past Ms. Lemberg and her specific travails, is that we're not nearly serious enough about DWI. Even as you're hearing this, I can see what most of you, or many of you, are saying. So, oh, there, but for the grace of God go I. Ooh. And here's the thing. I have a feeling that we wouldn't be saying that if we gave 45 days in prison to every first-time DWI. Of course, there may not be enough jail cells in a dozen Americas to actually do that, but that's what it'll look like when we actually get serious about DWI, right? Now, you hear the news stories. Well, Bill Jones was pulled over for his 5th DWI in 2 years. Huh? What's he doing driving? What's he doing out breathing the air of freedom? So until we get serious about DWI, that's the way the field is striped. But we sure got serious with the DA in Travis County, Ms. Lemberg, and now there are folks who want to get further down the serious trail by forcing her to resign. Well, you can't force her to resign. They want to pressure her to resign. One of my favorite guys in the legislature is State Representative Phil King, Republican out of Weatherford. And he really wants her to resign. He knows he can't go there and prod her, physically or legally from office, but he wants a sort of a pressure campaign on maybe even the governor to defund the Public Integrity Unit, which she oversees. And that, by the way, really is the stickler. She's not just another DA. She's the DA down in Austin, which gives her the reins of the Public Integrity Unit. It's her job to supervise and prosecute wrongdoing on the part of other public officials. Can you say unseemly? So that's the logic by which a lot of people say she ought to go and she ought to resign. She ain't doing that. She wrote a profuse, and it sounded to me sincere, if somewhat lawyerly, apology letter. I mean, she seems contrite. She's absolutely paying the price called for by law, paying a harsher price than maybe you or I would on a first-time DWI. I hope to never find out. But for some, that's not enough. But here's the thing. Are some folks going after her with extra zest because she's the one who saw to who pursued charges against Tom DeLay? Is there any added vigor because she happens to be a lesbian? Now, I sense none of this in the very honest views of Phil King, a friend of mine in the legislature, who I think is going at this from a pure law enforcement and propriety angle. But rest assured, both in terms of her status as a staunch Democrat and a proud lesbian, there are folks for whom that's going to make them want her gone even more. But there's also, please, it's Austin. There are tons of people down there who, for those reasons, love her even more and want her to remain. So we'll see how this goes. But overall, no matter what happens to Ms. Lemberg, I hope the lesson we all take away from it is 45 days in jail is really harsh. And it should be. She got exactly what she deserved from the legal system. What she deserves in terms of her career, I don't know. We can work on that together on the show. But what we all deserve is the sensibility that our society really cares about DWI. And when we give probation for a first time, a second time, and I love cops, we're the official cops talk show, but until we start stationing police officers outside the parking lots of all kinds of clubs and restaurants, and I don't just mean, the country dive bars, but some of the pricey steakhouses, because that'd be like shooting fish in a barrel. When we start doing that, that's when we will know that we are serious about DWI. Well, we'll get serious about all kinds of things on our Friday show and probably not so serious about others. And it's a big, long, fat 5 hours. So join me tomorrow if you're watching this on Thursday. Bill Bennett's Morning in America from 5 to 8, where I am your Friday host. And then 8 to 10 down the bat pole for the 2 local hours. Sounds like a way to wrap up a week to me. Whatever day you're watching, thank you for catching the Mark Davis Show on 660 AM The Answer.